Hey guys, welcome to Doodle Club with me, Claire, and today we've got a couple of themes again, and we're going to go with some landscapes as well as all the colours of the rainbow today as one of our themes. So let's get ready. Okay then guys, so we're going to start off with our doodle page, and it's going to be an A4 size this time. And I'm going to just start off with breaking up that blank space and going in with a border all the way around, and I'm going to double that up with my solid bold line all the way around, just like that. And next I'm going to go in with some shapes in the corners that are inspired by like a vintage style suitcase. And then inside of those, I'm going to go in with some circles just to kind of represent like little nails that keep the suitcase together. And then I'm going to frame that, and I'm going to do another solid bold line all the way around. Just like that, and then I'm going to double that up just to carry on that theme there that I've got going on of two solid bold lines all the way around, and there we have it. So now I'm going to just go in and break up all those solid bold lines, and I'm going to do some dots, and this is good just to get practicing with your pen and where your placement is of the nib, and it's just super fun to do as well when you do it in small amounts anyway. So all the way around just like that. So now I'm going to go in with some kind of vine style. I'm going to do some that are like quite swirly and one that's not so swirly, and then I'm going to go in and just break up that space with some dashes. And then I'm going to frame that as well, just like I did with my border. And I'm going to double it up with solid bold lines, just like that, all the way around. And I think next I'm going to do a little paintbrush. So I'm going to go up the top here. I'm going to do the handle and then the little metal bit that keeps the bristles on the handle, just like that, and a little bit of detail in there. And then I'm going to go around and frame that all the way around and double it up. So on the bottom here, I'm going to do a pencil. I'm just going to frame that just like I have done with the other bit and double it up. And add my little bits of detail in there. Okay, so I'm going to do some lavender down here. And do those little wonky little bits of the flower. They don't have to be perfect, the wonkier they are, the more natural they look. And then do a little leaf there as well. And then frame them, but I'm going to go around each little flower bit. So it's more kind of like cloud framing it there, and double that one up as well. All the way around. There we go. So next I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to go in with a sunflower. So I'm going to do each of the petals, and I'm going to do petals behind each other as well to kind of build up the flower head there, just adding them in. And I'm going to go in with a little bit of detail in there. Just simple details, but effective. And then some cross hatching in the centre there. Just add a couple more petals in, and you can keep building it up. just like that. And then I'm going to frame that as well, going around each petal. Double that up. There we go. Then down here I'm going to go in with a watermelon, a little slice of watermelon, and I'm going to add in little seeds there and double up that frame. Here I'm going to go for a citrus fruit, so depending on what colour you then coloured it in, it could be an orange, a lime or a lemon. Just add in those little kind of segment bits in there, add a little bit of detail, a little bit of texture, and double it up. Here we go. So now I'm going to go in, and any of those kind of bigger blank space that I've got, I'm going to add in some kind of wobbly shapes there and just follow around the drawings that I've already created. And then inside each of those shapes I'm going to do a different pattern that just comes to my head to see what I can get down. So starting off with this one, I'm going to just go with some simple lines. And this one I'm going to go with some swirls, so you can do swirls that kind of alternate in what direction they start off in. Do some cute little polka dots there with different sizes, some that are quite small, some that are slightly bigger. And then in here I'm going to do cute little stars and then just add in some little dots into the blank spaces. I'm going to go with some more stripes, but I'm going to colour in every other one. And then I'm going to go with some more lines, but I'm going to alternate them, so there'll be a broken line of dots, then a solid bold line, then another broken line of dots and a solid bold line, and so on. Some cross hatching and then some more kind of shapes inside shapes there, just like that. Here's our doodle page finished for today. So if you want to grab a fresh piece of paper, and we're going to start off with our theme of landscapes. So I'm just going to start off with 3 kind of rough lines there, just as guides for myself. And then I'm going to just draw some kind of trunk shapes, and I'm going to try out some little different trees there. So we're going to start off with kind of tropical coconut trees here. And then I'm going to go over in my pen. And I'm just kind of doing them quite messy. The fun thing about nature-made things is that even when they're wonky, it's still fine because that's natural. Then I'm just gonna kind of do the different leaves there and just thicken up the trunk slightly at the bottom, just like that. So our next one that we're gonna do is we're gonna do more of like a Mexico kind of theme with some cacti. So I'm going to do different styles of cacti, just like that. I'm just sketching out in my pencil first so that if I make any mistakes I can rub them out and start again. And over there in my Sharpie, I'm just going to follow those kind of rough guidelines that I've already given myself, just like that. And on the third one, I'm going to go for more of a traditional tree that you'd find here in England. And I'm just going to do kind of like a bushy kind of leaves on the top there, add a little bit of texture into my trunk. And it just do kind of like curved, rough kind of sketches with your marker there. And like I say, it doesn't have to be perfect. So over here, I'm going to have a little go at some hills. So I'm going to start off with some triangles and I'm going to overlay them on top of each other. And then I'm going to grab my marker and I'm just going to choose which kind of lines I want to show through there. So you don't have to go around the whole triangles, maybe add a little bit of snow on top. And then just add a little bit of texture where the kind of the mountain maybe dips in a little bit. Add a little pathway. And because of the way distance works, the pathway will get smaller as it goes off into the distance into your mountains. And then you might want to add some little texture and trees in there, add a little forest, just like that. And then rub out all those pencil lines. Make it look super professional. Try not to scrumple up the corners like I did. You can use your other hand to kind of keep your page where it needs to be. Just like that. So now we're going to have a little go. If you find something that's circular, and pop it onto your page, and then we're going to draw around it. And then what we're going to do is inside we're going to create a little mini landscape in there. So maybe you've got a little tub that you keep your pens in, that might be a perfect size. So I'm just going to draw 2 of them and quickly just have a little go at some clouds there, kind of see what clouds I'd like inside of my little circles. Grab my pencil, I'm going to just draw out kind of rough guidelines there. And I'm going to do where the land is and the mountains in the background, and some cool fluffy little clouds there in the background. Some little snow on top of my mountains. And then I'm going to add in a little crop field style thing there and a little forest. It's just on the edge of my mountains. And then for my second circle, I'm going to do a little pathway going through the middle, making sure that it gets smaller as it goes off into the distance. Then add some little mountains there, where my pathway's kind of disappearing off to, over to that third mountain. And add some cool little clouds, a little bit of snow at the top of my mountains and a little bit of texture in there, show where the kind of the grooves are in the mountain. And there we have it, my little landscapes. So I'm going to rub out any pencil lines that I have left on there that are peeking through still, and there we go. Okay then guys, so if you grab another fresh piece of paper, and we're going to go with our colour theme today of rainbow. So there's no particular colour, we're just trying to use all the colours of the rainbow where we possibly can. So first thing I'm going to start off with is a rainbow. So I'm just drawing a little cloud that's kind of, it's not too perfect but almost perfect, because the clouds in the sky, they don't look anything in particular unless you might see a dog or something there, or like a whale. I always see things in the clouds. And I'm going to just do the different segments for each of my colours. And then I'm going to go in, and something that popped into my head when I thought of all the colours of the rainbow is Skittles. So I'm going to just do some little circles with the letter S. Sorry, the letter S there, all the way around my page, just to kind of break up that blank space. So another thing that popped into my head that I thought, oh, there's different kind of segments in it that could do different colours, is an umbrella. So I'm going to do a little handle as well, just like that. So my next little doodle is some flowers. So I'm going to do each of the different petals, different colours I think, and just dot them around as well. So I'm going to go in with some buttons as well. So you can do different types of buttons with 2 little holes inside, or you can do buttons with 4 holes inside. Maybe look at the items of clothing that you're wearing, copy the buttons that are on them. And I just do a few of them across my page. And next I'm going to go in with a pencil, because one of my favourite things is those multicoloured pencils, because you just never know what colour's going to come out on your page. And I'm just going to add a little bit of detail in there. And I'm going to do another little pencil down here, so that he's got a little friend. And my next little doodle, I'm going to go in with one of those swirly lollipops that just is full of all the colours of the rainbow. I'll just do a swirl at the top of a lollipop stick, and then I'm going to add in some bubbles, because if you ever look at a bubble, it kind of reflects all the different colours. I thought it would be cool to kind of capture that kind of whole range in there. Right then, that is it for my marker, and I'm going to go in with my colours. So I'm going to start off with my red. I'm going to do that first little segment of my rainbow, and then I'm going to just do some kind of little bits in my lollipop here. Just going to colour little random bits and bobs in there, just like that. And then inside my bubble, I'm going to do very loose kind of lines, really sketchy lines in there, colouring one of my Skittles, a little bit of my pencil, adding a little stripe into the handle there, just like that. Add some little bits of colour into one of my petals of my flowers, and a segment of my umbrella there as well. So our next colour of the rainbow is orange, so I'm going to colour in my second segment of my rainbow, and I'm just going to go over the little bits that are slightly lighter, because I just kind of want that bold colour to really pop on there. I'm going to add in some little bits of the segments to my lollipop, just like that, and my bubbles and petals there, a little Skittle and a little bit of my pencil. And then next we have our yellow segment, and I'm going to colour that little segment in there, and then just use that thinner end just to make sure that I get the edges. Add little bits into my lollipop, I know you said balloon then, my bubbles, and my little petals and a little Skittle and stuff there. My buttons. Next we have the colour green. I'm going to colour that segment, make it look super vibrant and solid, and then just add little bits into my lollipop again. I think it was a perfect idea doing a rainbow, because I won't forget any of my colours. And just don't forget about the Skittles. I'm going to add just a little stem to those flowers, since I'm not going to use green to the petals. And into my bubble, just like that. And then my next colour is the colour blue, so I'm going to colour that segment in. And then I'm going to do a little bit of my lollipop. Just like that, a little bit into my bubbles. And my petals. Do a little Skittle. And I forgot about the different segments of my umbrella, so I'm going to just add that little segment of blue. And then I'm just going to go back in and colour in those segments. Can't forget about my very colourful umbrella. And just go back in there with that green and yellow and my orange that I've already used. And last but not least, we have purple. So I'm going to start off with my umbrella, so don't forget to do it. There we go. And that last segment of my rainbow, just like that, and add in the purple bit of my lollipop, and I'm just going to fill in any of the little blank bits that are in my lollipop there with just random colours. Just if they overlap, that's alright, make some new shades. And then I'm just going to go in and colour in any of those little bits and bobs that are left over, like the buttons and the Skittles, as well as the petals on my flower. do really like how they all kind of complement each other and they bring out different colours a little bit stronger than others. But all the colours do really pop and they have their own kind of purpose there as well. And I'm going to just finish off these little petals. Sometimes it is hard as well, just making sure that you have a balance of all the different colours on the page as well. So just try different things, add a little bit of grey into your cloud as well there, if you want to add a little bit of kind of depth to it. Do any little touch-ups. And I'm going to just use the grey there on my little lollipop stick and bits of detail in the pencil. And there we have it, our rainbow themed doodle page. And I used all these different colours and I love how it looks. So guys, finally we have our doodle reflection page. So you can write Doodle Club in the centre if you want to. It's just something that I quite like doing because then I use that as the centrepiece that everything else kind of pops out of. So I'm going to take inspiration from my double bold line framing and I'm going to go all the way around just like that. So next I'm going to do a box, I'm going to double it up and then I'm going to write club inside in quite a like rustic kind of bubble typography there, and then use those dots to break up that space. So my first little doodle I'm going to do on my reflection is the lollipop. I'm going to do a giant swirl just like that. Out of this side I'm going to go in for some bubbles. I'm going to scatter them all the way around my page that do the bubbles different sizes as well. And then I'm going to do a little pencil sticking out of here at the bottom there, a little bit of detailing. And then I'm going to go in up here with a cloud and I'm going to do a rainbow sticking out at the top going off of my page. Make sure that I do enough segments there. And down here I'm going to go in with a little button, a little 4-hole button. And then I'm going to go in with a circle. This time I'm going to draw around my paint water cup, just like that, seeing the perfect size. I'm going to just add in my little mountains in there, a little bit of snow on there, a bit of detail. I'm going to add a little pathway and my little forest. So next I'm just going to add in a little bit of detail into my bubbles here so I don't forget what they are. And then I'm going to just go around and I'm going to double frame all of those little doodles that I've created. So just using a solid bold line, I'm going to go all the way around. Just like that. And around my pencils and around these little bubbles, and I'm going to have them just kind of overlaying each other. Quite like how it looks when they're kind of layered and they're poking out from behind. There we go, and around my little landscape there. Beautiful. I'm going to just add in a little watermelon. Just add in the little seeds, just like that. So now I'm going to just break up that kind of blank space that I have left around the little doodles, and I'm going to just draw some kind of wonky shapes following and using those doodles as guidelines, just like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up with some cool little patterns to do inside. So up at the top here I'm going to go for my stars. So I'm taking inspiration from that first doodle page. I'm going to just do little stars all the way, changing the size of them, and then add some little dots inside as well, like the stars are getting smaller. Then I'm going to write landscape. I'm going to frame it, just a little double frame there. And then I'm going to just add some little polka dots poking out different sizes. Then up here I'm going to write rainbow, because that was our other theme, and I'm going to just double frame it. And then let's think about some cool little patterns. So we've got our stripes, and I'm going to just shade in every other one. And then up here I'm going to do some more lines. I'm going to do a dotted line in the center of each of the lines that I've created, just like that. And then this last little kind of larger blank space that I've got, I'm going to go in with some wobbly shapes, and those smaller little blank spaces as well I'm going to fill with some swirls in that one, and do some wobbly shapes down here and up here, just like that. So that is all for today with our marker, and I'm going to go in with some colour. So I'm going to just go through the rainbow again there and add in some red. I'm not doing solid colouring, I'm just kind of doing it quite sketchy. I'm not too bothered about it if it's super neat. And then I'm going to go in with my yellow and just add little bits in there to the bubbles, my rainbow. And then I'm going to go in with my green, and I'm just colouring in the letters as well for doodle with my different colours, because there's 6 letters and I've got my 6 colours of the rainbow, so it just works. Go in with the blue, and there's little bits in there, and last but not least the purple, just like that. And then I'm going to grab my grey as well and just add in a little bit to colour into the club and my cloud, and there we have it. And that is all for today for Doodle Club. I hope that you enjoyed having a little doodle with some landscapes there and thinking about the different textures that you can build up, as well as using all the colours of the rainbow. Stay safe guys, and wash your hands. Bye!